I think there were two very statement games this weekend. And one we've circled for a while. We kind of knew. And another one, there were some interesting storylines, but not very many people in the country, including myself, thought it was going to be a close game. So we'll start with Colorado at TCU, big noon kickoff. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, goes into Fort Worth to play Texas Christian, who just came off of playing in the national championship game. They lose, coordinator and have a lot of new pieces, but still a tough program, and people ranked them number 17 in the country. It's still a little high because of all the turnovers, like a turnover of personnel and then some new system to install. But I mean, it's still a tough out, and it's tough to play on the road. And then talking with Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, as he likes to be called, and this Colorado team, they brought in so many transfers. It was like I think only one scholarship player was still left over? I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it was just a crazy amount of just new personnel and guys who didn't play. I mean, it's just, you didn't know. You don't know you just don't know what you're going to look like. And that's what made picking that game so tough, spread-wise, is because you just don't know with Colorado what you were going to get. And 20.5 just seems like a lot of points. And I think they would, be admirable, but it was just hard to see them covering. And boy, did they cover. I mean, that was such a captivating game. And that's why you love Saturdays in the fall. And that's why, you love seeing all this, because it's a game that was, not only did Colorado cover, it was just so entertaining. It was just back and forth, kept you on the edge of your seat the whole time, to where, if you have kids and they're napping, you're trying to be quiet, because it's just so entertaining, and you're seeing big play after big play, and just dynamics of this game. You could just talk about, we could take up this whole rest of this episode talking about this game, because that's how good it was. So Colorado comes in there and they win 45-42. Shadar Sanders, I mean, a big name in this is Travis Hunter, but Shadar Sanders, what he did, I mean, being the coach's son and being the big name that your dad is, being the spotlight that's on you because you're the coach's son, and being quarterback and coming with him from Jackson State, I thought he was a good player, but I wasn't expecting that. He threw 510 yards. It was a school record. It was his first start on the road. It was incredible. Colorado had 4 players with over 100 yards receiving. 4. That's insane. The numbers were so big and so all over the place, it's just hard to even process them. And then Travis Hunter, what he was doing, the dude played 160 something snaps. He played 2 ways, and not just played it, but played it well, was the guy. Over 100 yard receiving, touchdown, and interception, locking down top players. I mean, he looked like, as when you get with these recruiting rankings, and guys can be good, but not every 5-star is the same, and not every top player is the same as you rank these guys. And that's why they try to have these low grading scales, but it was hard to know. You want to see what it looks like when the lights get shown on them. And he was recruited to Florida State. He was number 1 player in the country. Follows Deion Sanders, and seems to really relate to him, which is really cool. Goes to Jackson State. He balls out there. He goes to Colorado, starts, and doesn't just start, but takes over, and was just making all these crazy catches. And I mean, Colorado put the college football world on notice. It was impressive. And then you got Dylan Edwards. He was explosive out of the backfield. I'm even just pulling up the box score over here. Sanders, 510 yards, 4 interceptions. Dylan Edwards had 4 touchdowns, 5 for 135 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wilkerson rushed the ball well. I mean, it was impressive. And then his other son, Shiloh Sanders, was another quarterback. This is the type of team that they showed was, you would expect maybe for a few years from now. You don't expect that game 1. and telling you, Coach Prime and this team, they put they acquired a lot of doubters, and now they're going to host Nebraska, and they're a 9-point underdog. I don't want to play that team. Like, who wants to play that team right now with all the confidence they have? And I'm just saying, like, that's another tough out, and they're just going to be such a fun storyline because they're like that, like when you're binge watching a show and they leave you on a cliffhanger at the end of the episode. Like, you just want to know what's next. Like, what's the next thing? What are the next thing they're going to do? What's the next thing Coach Prime's going to say on the sidelines? Like, what's the next? It's just super impressive. And also, just another side note, I'm glad he clarified this. I don't know if you watched the game, you saw a little D or a little L. And I was trying to figure out what it was on the jersey. So instead of doing captains, they're doing, he calls them leaders, and then he calls them dogs. So he doesn't like doing the captain thing. So, I mean, listen, it's working for him. Kids are buying in. He is, was a dynamic player both ways at Florida State and the NFL, and he played baseball too. So, not everyone may like him, but you have to respect him, I think, for what he's doing and with the programs he puts together, and he wins. And the guy wants to help kids improve and give them their best chance for the next level. So I think people didn't like the way that he was coming across of like all these transfers and just coming in as himself. But I've heard somebody else say this too. Like, what's conventional about college football right now? Like Josh Pate was saying this on his show, like, or I forget on his show or on Twitter. Like, what's conventional about college football right now? We've got 2 California teams coming to play in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Like, what is this? We got the Big 12 or Big 10 spanning across the country. We've got all these mega conferences, all this NIL money, like with hardly any regulation. Like, what's conventional about this? There's a fun story to watch, and it'll be interesting to see how this narrative, this storyline continues to grow too. So, and then just hitting on TCU, to me, I wasn't even like, I don't know if I was 100% even disappointed in TCU. I thought they played a good game. There were some times where they had some breakdowns in coverage, but that's really hard to defend against when you don't know exactly what's coming. I thought Chandler Morris played pretty well. They had some good, they kept responding. They took leads. They just ran out of time. And it was just one of those good games. And they had the magic from last year. And I think really it's just, you have the history of the year before, but it doesn't always carry over the way we always think it will. And that's okay. It's just each year is a year of its own, and you have the history from before, and you're projecting out, and some of that can carry over into summer, maybe into the new team. But as coaches will tell you, it's a new team, it's new leaders, it's new people. Even if it's the same personnel, it could be in new positions, ask new responsibilities, or trying to carry with the young guys and helping keep the culture going. And so there's a lot of change in the TCU program, and I thought they played pretty well. But there were some things they'll want to clean up and stuff. And I wasn't expecting them to continue the run of last year, because that was just a magical thing of its own. But still, at the same time, it's tough. You don't want to lose game 1 at home. But to me, this was more about how impressive Colorado was than more if TCU was disappointing for me. Fans will probably say different, but that's just, from an outsider looking in, that's just how I took it. So